The NFC West has been one of the most interesting divisions in the NFL this year. You have the defending Super Bowl champions, the plucky Arizona Cardinals coming off a great season, the San Francisco 49ers after going to the NFC Championship, and the Seattle Seahawks after trading away their franchise quarterback. But there's been one common theme. This division is crazy because everyone's kind of middle of the pack. No one has really that big separation as of this moment. Everyone is 2-3, or you have the 3-2 team in the San Francisco 49ers. But I want to break it down to everyone of why I think which team's going to take which place in division. So let's break it down. Let's start off with the Arizona Cardinals. And I'm going to admit it, I'm not high on this team. I don't think they have a long-term future with this coach, this quarterback, and their GM. I think Colin Murray's a special talent. No one gets away in NFL being 5'8", 5'7". Yes, he's shorter than his actual listed height. They don't get away with this without having special elite talent. But the problem is, when you're selling Kyler Murray size, you don't take the abuse well in your body because you're a much shorter person. These guys hitting you are big-time guys. They're made to hit the 6'5", stocky guys. Kyler's smaller. The hits he's going to take on his body are going to wear and tear as the years go on, but we already see it happening when they play long games and long seasons. Kyler Murray has dropped off significantly as the season goes on. He got hurt last year regularly. He missed a bunch of games. That's not something you can rely on your franchise quarterback. And a big issue is the coach who they hired wanted him so bad, and it was a bad choice in my opinion. Cliff Kingsbury is, I don't want to say overrated because he's properly rated. He's a guy who hadn't won in college football consistently. He hasn't won in the NFL consistently. They had a great 9-0 start last year, but they struggled down the stretch going 11-6. They weren't well coached at the end of the year last year. They got embarrassed in the NFC wildcard game last year to the division rival Rams, and it's just overall not good. And then you look at the GM, Steve Keim, who I swear is just the yes man for the owner of the Cardinals. But why am I so against the Cardinals? Well, they have this feel to me. This is something I wouldn't admit it when I was watching it because I thought the Texans would be better. But this is reminding me of Bill O'Brien's last year in Houston. It feels like the coach, we just know what he is. He isn't anything special. He's kind of overrated by the franchise. The quarterback looks special. There are concerns there. We didn't know Watson at the time, but there were concerns there. And there are concerns with Kyler, maybe with his work ethic stuff, putting in special contract language in that you have to study. If you're a franchise quarterback, you have to study. And if you're paying that guy, you shouldn't have to worry about him studying. I'm not at all saying this all on Kyler. I think a lot of it's on the Cardinals for putting that in there, being like, hey, you need to study more. So what you're saying is either you don't trust him on studying or he doesn't want to at all. That's what you're saying there. This team has no faith in their franchise quarterback they paid. This team has more faith in the coach that falls off every year. And let's go with what the stats are. They're middle of the road in points. They have 105 points throughout the season. That's middle of the road. They're middle of the road in yards per game, having 352 yards per game. This is a middle of the road offense. You should not be having that with a $200 million quarterback. Defensively, they're not good. They're in the bottom half of the league in yards a game. This is not a team that's built right now good. They have an old defensive line. They have a beat-up secondary. Yes, you got a great player in Budda Baker. Who else? Byron Murphy's fine. He's nothing special. You're looking at the Cardinals. They are, I'd say, 3 years from me saying, oh yeah, they can win a Super Bowl. And they just paid their franchise quarterback. This is a team that needs to clean house. They need to get rid of their head coach. They need to get rid of their GM. And I don't think it's going to happen because the owner is tied with the coach. The owner fired Steve Wilks. I don't believe this was Steve Keim's decision. He hired Cliff Kingsbury, who got fired from Texas Tech, who was the USC offense coordinator for a month. He got hired as Arizona Cardinals head coach. I didn't like the hire at the time. I don't like it now. I think the Cardinals are a team that's just a disaster. They're walking forward into the abyss. I think they picked in the top 10 this year. I think they're inconsistent, and I think they have a lot of growing pains to undergo. They have an old defense of line with J.J. Watt. They got rid of Chandler Jones, But hey, your pass rush is worse now they got rid of Chandler Jones. But hey, we got Deandre Hopkins come back. Maybe that can change the things. And it's possible. DeAndre Hopkins is a big-time game wrecker. He's been one of the best wide receivers in the NFL ever since he's entered the league. But if you're telling me you're relying on a over 30 wide receiver to win you football games, you are in deep trouble when you just paid a quarterback $200+ million. And that's why I look at the Cardinals. They're in deep trouble, and I think they finish 4th place in the NFC West. The Los Angeles Rams. What else do you want me to say? They're a defending Super Bowl champion, but they're clearly struggling out the air. And a lot of the struggles are Matthew Stafford. I'm a big Matthew Stafford fan, but it's not looking good for him. His elbow injury is either way more severe than we've been led on, or the wear and tear of playing in Detroit has finally taken effect on his body. Matt Stafford had a great year last year. Don't make any bones about it. He took his team to the Super Bowl. He won the Super Bowl. That's a major accomplishment for any player. But it might be a one-year hit in LA. And the issue with the Rams is they're not like the Steelers of last year. The Steelers had an elite defense that could win them stupid football games. The Rams' defense is not elite right now. They're not playing anywhere close to an elite level. They just lost to the Cowboys, starting Cooper Rush. You cannot lose those games if you're the defending Super Bowl champions. You should not lose those games if you're a team trying to make the playoffs. But they did. And I'm not even mad at the Rams because I think this issue is just it's age, it's effect. It wears and tears everyone down. Matt Stafford is struggling, and it's hard to see because I'm a Stafford fan, and it's hard to see if you're a fan of football because he's such an amazing, talented player. But the Rams do have other pieces that can get them out of that way. They have Jalen Ramsey, a top cornerback in the league. They have Aaron Donald, maybe the best player in all of football. They have Cooper Kupp, one of the best wide receivers in football. Allen Robinson, who is a very good wide receiver in the NFL. Bobby Wagner, who has been a staple of NFL all-time linebackers. He's in the all-time ranks. So why are they struggling so much? Well, their O-line is beat up. And it's beat up pretty bad. They're playing some third-stringers. They are in a big crisis when it comes to health in the O-line. You combine that with Stafford's inability to kind of move as well or throw the ball as well, whatever you want to say. It's affecting them majorly. Now, the big thing they can do is get a run game, but that's easier said than done with backups as your offensive line. This team is in trouble right now until they get health there. And I don't even know if they're healthy, if they're that great. This just feels like a team that's maybe going to take a year off from being great. Or maybe more if Stafford's injury history is anything to be looked at. This could be the downfall of the Rams. I don't believe it is. I think this is a one-year miss. I think they go and dig themselves out of this hole a bit, but I don't believe this is a playoff team. That being said, I see them finishing second in the NFC West. This division is not that good, and I think they can at least ink out second with 8 to 7 wins. Now let's talk about maybe the biggest overachiever in this division, the Seattle Seahawks. And it's weird to say a team 2 and 3 is an overachiever, but man, they have been in it. They have been in every single one of their games, besides the 49ers, which was a rough watch. But they've lost their 2 games outside of them by 1 possession. Both very good against 2 NFC South teams, ironically. But let's talk about the big guy in the room, Gino Smith. Gino Smith has been playing pretty good football. This is some of the best football he's ever played, including his West Virginia days. Now, do I think it's going to hold up? No, I don't. I think Gino Smith is having a run of his life. But I'm not going to say he's the guy for the future. I'm not going to say he's the long-term answer. He is a serviceable starter that you can bring back next year and have him start over a rookie quarterback you want to develop. Rashard Penny gained down hurt last week sucks. But you have rookie second-round pick Kenneth Walker coming into play. A guy I was a big fan of. He was my number 1 running back coming out of college last year. I thought he was amazing. I think he is the right guy for a Pete Carroll-led offense of running the ball properly. But that's not even the biggest surprise to Seahawks. Their rookie tackles have been amazing for rookie tackles. Yes, have they given up some sacks? Yes. Have they had some issues in run blocking? Yes. their rookie tackles. You're starting a left tackle rookie and a right tackle rookie in the NFL, and you've won 2 games with a fun, dynamic offense. That's an incredible job on the coaching side of the ball. That's incredible all over the board. Abe Lucas, Charles Cross, if they both hit, this year's a major success because you have 2 tackles for your future. But it's not just them that have been young rookies performing well. Kobe Bryant and Tariq Woolen are 2 studs in the making of the defensive back group. Pete Carroll has drafted defensive backs well. I should say Schneider has drafted them well, but Pete Carroll has done a good job developing them. Kobe Bryant was someone I was very high on. I was one of the crazy people that had a first-round grade on him. Don't know how many others did. Tariq Woolen, though, surprised me. This is the athlete. This is the guy every coach says, I want him, and I can make something special out of him. And Pete Carroll is. He is a mold of clay that you just take and you just make something special. He is a tall guy. He is 6'4", and he is quick. It's not just he's fast. He's quick. He can break on a ball like nothing. He has great movement. He is a quick DB with a bright future ahead of him. But why don't I think Seattle is going to contend for the division title? I don't think this holds up. I think they're going to hit a stretch that they're going to struggle. I think they win 6 games, which is very good considering where they were entering the year. And they draft their guy next year. Now, who do I think they should draft? I don't think they'll be in position to draft a Bryce Young or a CJ Stroud. I have my concerns about CJ Stroud and a bit about Bryce Young, but less about Young than Stroud. But who do I want to see Seattle draft? Tyler Van Dyke. He is something special. I know he doesn't have the best year at Miami, but you watch him, you watch that 2021 film, and you just see something special there. So I think this year is a positive for Seattle if their rookies step up and they go in the offseason and they find their next great quarterback. And I have the Seahawks finishing 3rd place in the NFC West. If there's one word to describe the 49ers, it's defense. Defense is what's winning them football games. It isn't Jimmy Garoppolo. It isn't Trey Lance. It isn't even Brock Purdy. Although all 3 of those guys can win football games with this defense playing as good as it is under DeMeco Ryan. DeMeco Ryan is a stud coordinator. He is maybe the best coordinator in football as of this moment. He's a future head coach in waiting, and he's got this defense humming. You have guys like Arik Armstead and Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, and the emergence of Talanoa Hufanga. And I apologize if I butcher his name, but I'm not the best with names, and it's a Samoan name, so nothing. But he reminds me of one of my all-time favorite players in Troy Polamalu. And that isn't easy for me to say. This defense is humming. You got Tre'Davious Ward at the secondary, at the cornerback position. You just need maybe another cornerback, and this defense is set. You're not scoring on them, and if you do, you're going to be bloodied, you're going to be battered, you're going to be walking into that sideline bruised up and wanting a long rest. But here's the thing. Their offense doesn't lack talent. I'm not the biggest Jimmy Garoppolo fan. I'm not going to lie and say I think he can win the Super Bowl. I don't. I think Trey Lance was their best shot at it. But they're still loaded with talent. Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Jeff Wilson Jr., Kyle Juszczyk, and George Kittle. That's a dangerous crew for no matter who's playing quarterback can win you football games. And here's the thing. They have an offensive genius coaching them in Kyle Shanahan. In my opinion, this is the best team in the NFC West. It's not really close. Even though I don't think their offense is good, I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is good, I think they're more than adequate on defense to win games. This is a team that's going to drag you down. They're going to fight you. They're going to make you wish you didn't come to the stadium Sunday, Monday, or Thursday. They play violent, and it's fun to watch. But do I see them going on a long run in the playoffs? It's possible, but I think you're looking at a divisional round exit at best. This team is limited with Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback. They won last year, yes, because the weather conditions in Green Bay were horrible. It was not a good weather conditions game. A lot of people don't remember this. Green Bay should have won that game. They made a lot of stupid errors. But San Francisco capitalized on it because they got good coaching on offense and defense. That's all you need in the NFL to be successful. And that's why I'm taking the San Francisco 49ers to finish first place in the NFC West. Now, my overall thoughts are this division is kind of lopsided for one team only. I don't think the Cardinals are going to be competing. Like I said, I think they're a bad team. I think they're going to be picking the top 10 next year, and I think they'll have a new head coach and hopefully a brand new general manager. The Seahawks, this year does not matter if they win. If they win, that's a cherry on top. This year is developing rookies and figuring out who is the guy in the future. I like Tyler Van Dyke a lot at Miami, but you have guys like Bryce Young, CJ Stroud if they fall off a bit, or have Anthony Richardson, a highly, highly touted prospect. There's a lot of ways the Seahawks can go, and only the future can tell. But in my opinion, they're having a great season for what they need to do this year. The Rams, I'm uncertain about. Matthew Stafford is a big worry for me because I don't know if this just is elbow having issues that the team's kind of underselling and maybe he should take some time off or get surgery done. Or is it that years of playing football behind battle lines in Detroit and just getting hit and beat up is finally taking effect on his body, and which is very unfortunate. I'm a Steelers fan. I saw it happen with Big Ben, that the body doesn't go on a linear path of, oh, we're falling off. It just takes a drastic drop, and that's what it's doing with Stafford right now, and I fear for Rams fans, and I fear for Stafford. The 49ers, I feel like this was a Super Bowl team with Trey Lance at quarterback. Even though we don't know what Trey Lance is, I think he adds that spark. Trey Lance is a big question mark for the future, though, because we don't know if he is going to be the long-term answer there, having limited NFL reps this year and one start last year, and limited reps in college before breaking his ankle. It's a very serious thing the 49ers have to worry about, and unfortunately for them, they don't have a first-round pick that they can invest in a quarterback next year. But the 49ers have one thing going for them, and that's defense led by DeMeco Ryans. They're going to be great. They're going to keep them in games. They're going to win them some games. I think this 49ers team is talented. I don't think they win the Super Bowl or go to the Super Bowl because of their limitations on offense with Jimmy Garoppolo. Hey everyone, if you're new to this channel, I want to thank you very much for watching this video. If you made it through the end, if you liked it, hit that like button. If you have any disagreements with me, go down in the comment section. I'm more than willing to discuss it with you. But come back next week, as next week I talk about the crazy train wreck, or whatever you want to call it, of the Miami Dolphins.